It's 5 o'clock Central African time. You're watching the SABC News channel, independent and impartial. In this hour, we bring you your story from our team of journalists across the country, telling the local story in a way that nobody else can. I'm Peter Ndora. Thanks for tuning in. These are our top stories this hour. Taxi commuters travelling to some parts of northern Johannesburg were left stranded again this afternoon due to a one-day strike by members of the Alexandra Taxi Association. Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Rural Development and Land Reform is continuing with its public hearings on land reform amendments in several provinces across the country. The manager of the Tabachweu municipality in Mpumalanga has been given until Friday to convince the council why he should not be suspended. This follows ongoing protests by municipal employees. The Portfolio Committee on Rural Development and Land Reform has commenced with its public hearings in Limpopo, Northern Cape, Mpumalanga and the Free State provinces last week. The bill amends the Restitution Act of 1994, which gives effect to Section 25(7) of the Constitution in terms of providing for equitable redress to those who were dispossessed of their land rights under the colonial and apartheid governments. This bill, therefore, amends certain definitions, amends the cut-off date for lodgement of land claims, regulates matters relating to judges of the Land Claims Court, and also creates certain offences. Mlondi Khadebe is our reporter on the ground, and he's there at Port Shepstone, just outside the Civic Centre there. Let's join him now and find out what's been happening in that part of the country. Mlondi, thanks very much for joining us. It's been a busy, long day. Give us a sense of the kind of deliberations that have been taking place and some of the comments that have been coming through.
The community around Potchefstroom, they participated in the public hearings today with the land restitution amendment bill in Potchefstroom. They are making their views in relation to whether they are supporting the bill, saying that it will redress most of their challenges in the area. Especially some are also coming up with stories that some people were given land which did not belong to them. It belongs to other chiefs in the area. And those chiefs now, they feel that the land department must intervene, and also the portfolio committee must make sure that it comes close to the community so that they can work closely with them.
Were there a lot of people that have come through with concerns? Is this a huge problem in the area?
Basically, they're saying that it's a very huge problem because some people were even moved from the farms. So when they are claiming now, their claims did not come back until now. They are still waiting for the finalities of those claims.
All right, and how does the process happen? Give us a sense. We're getting some images of people sitting in a hall and a table at sort of on the stage. How does this process unfold?
No, basically what happened is it's like a meeting where the chairperson of the portfolio committee will brief them, telling them why the committee is there, and then what is needed from the communities. And then the communities will show up hands, and then they will be given the opportunity to ask questions, to voice their ideas on whether are they supporting the bill or not. And then their problems will be written down by the department officials so that they can make follow-ups.
Whenever there's land issues, traditional leaders often come to the fore, and I just wonder if they're participating in any way in this part of the country.
Yes, they participated. Most of them, they were part of these debates in Potchefstroom.
All right. So, how long is this supposed to carry on for? Is it just today, or they will continue for a couple of more days?
Today they are in Potchefstroom. Tomorrow they are going to Ulundi, and then I think it's only today and tomorrow in KZN.
All right, and it's likely it's the same kind of themes that are going to play out in those other areas as well.
Yes, we think because most of these areas are led by the traditional leaders, so the traditional leaders will be part of these debates.
All right, Mlondi Khadebe, who's our reporter there in the Eastern Cape, speaking to us from Port Shepstone, KwaZulu-Natal South Coast, talking to us about the Parliamentary's portfolio on land reform, looking at amendments and holding public hearings in KZN, and those will continue in other parts of the province in the coming days. Now, nurses and cleaning staff at the Nompumelelo hospital in Peddie in the Eastern Cape have been fetching and carrying water for the last month. This to ensure that the hospital continues to function. Water was finally switched on Sunday night. Let's cross now to our reporter, Busisiswe Jemsana-Mantashe, who has been tracking this story for us. Give us an update. Where are we now? This seems quite a challenge that this hospital and the staff has been facing for quite a bit of time now.
Indeed, Peter, it's been almost a month now with this hospital operating without running water inside the wards, with nursing staff and cleaning staff having to fetch the water from outside, from the water tanks that are situated outside the wards. Every day in the morning, whenever they change shifts at about 7 o'clock in the morning, when patients need to go bath, when they need to flush the toilets, they have to fetch water. We were told today that this was a result of a pipe burst, and therefore the municipality has been trying to solve the problem. When these allegations, Peter, surfaced during the week yesterday, we came here. I personally went into the hospital and saw those scenes that you are seeing of the cleaning staff that is fetching water from outside in trying to wash even the linen that is to be used. You'd understand that in a hospital where there are patients who are unable to do things for themselves, linen needs to be changed every day. Some that we spoke to were saying that it's actually tiring. And in fact, on Saturday, there was an accident, Peter, happening in one of the villages, and there was only one cleaning lady who had to fetch the water continuously going in and out of the ward. Patients who were sitting there looking at her and saying that you've been fetching this water, and she said that she has to because the day-to-day business has to continue. And yesterday we came and we saw those, and yesterday night we were told that water was back yesterday night. We did alert Peter, the provincial health department, and officials did come to this hospital because it was not only the water problem that was being complained for. Also, there were complaints that linen blankets that patients are given are so thin, especially considering that we are now in winter in June, and also the quality of food and portions that patients are given. They were complaining about that. The officials went from ward to ward checking if indeed this was the case. I saw the blankets, Peter, and I can tell you now that they are indeed thin blankets, but the nurses are saying that they give each patient 2 blankets, and if they need, they are called even then, they give them extra blankets. But one of the problems, Peter, that people have been complaining about, not only in this hospital but to other hospitals as well, is that you'll find that there is linen available, there are blankets that are there are pajamas that are there for patients, but they're just stored in a storage room and on a normal day-to-day. But whenever there are officials that are coming either from the province or national, then they would be taken out and you'd see patients with new pajamas. They would be given more blankets in cases where there are officials who are coming to inspect the hospitals. Whether or not this was the case in this hospital, it's something that we do not know, but we can confirm that the visit was announced and the management inside was aware that the provincial officials were coming to inspect the hospital. One other thing, Peter, that has been a problem for the embattled health department in the province across is that it has to deal with ambulance drivers who have been on a go slow for 3 months now, complaining about their salaries. And it's something that we picked up also even here when one old lady that we were talking to was saying that she has had to hire a private car and pay 400 rands for her child to be transported from home to this hospital, and she was told that her child needs to be transferred to East London, and still the problem of ambulances that are not there was the issue, to a point that there was an alternative transport that was organized for her to go and take her child to the hospital in East London. And whilst we've been here, the hours that we've spent here, we've been seeing some ambulances coming in and out, but what we've noticed, Peter, is that they are being escorted by private security vehicles. We were told that there is a problem where ambulances are being stoned by residents and those that are on a go slow, and we've just seen that they are being escorted whenever they need to go in and out of the hospital. There'll be a private security company vehicle accompanying those ambulances. Those are some of the complaints that have come through to the hospital and some of the challenges that are facing not only this hospital but other hospitals also in the province. Peter?
Busisiswe, that's quite a comprehensive update that you've just given us, and I'm just left wondering what the authorities have been saying and responding. Let's start with the ambulance issue, which is critical, and often this kind of thing is the difference between life and death. What are the authorities doing to avert this or reverse or try and solve this go slow that's on?
Indeed, Peter, it's a matter of life and death, and sadly there have been reports that up to now there are 3 people who have been reported dead as a result of the lack of ambulances that do go to calls whenever they are needed. But the officials are saying that they are in talks with the ambulance drivers, the ambulance unions, trying to resolve the situation, and that there is a plan B of using private ambulances when the state ambulances are not working. And they're saying that they have been using those private ambulances to actually transport and make sure that they do reach each and every village that is in need of ambulances. But it would seem, Peter, that that plan is not working, as there are people who are complaining that they do not get ambulances. There are people who are complaining that they've had their family members die because there hasn't been an ambulance that has been on call when they needed that ambulance. And we've witnessed it even today when we were inside this hospital, when that lady was complaining, saying that I need to take this child to the hospital in East London, but I'm told that there is no ambulance at all to take us there. So it is also something that we are following up with the health department, but they're saying they are holding negotiations with the ambulance drivers. How that will translate to a solution, because it's been 3 months now, Peter, with ambulance drivers, emergency workers on that go slow. How it ends, when they will reach a solution, is something that we do not know yet, because we've been also talking to these ambulance drivers who are saying they are not going back to work, and in fact they are saying for the health department to actually hire private security cars to actually escort these ambulances means that there is money, but they are just not willing to pay them the salaries that they are demanding.
All right, looks like we may have lost Busisiswe there, but I think she gave us a pretty comprehensive update there. And one can only imagine, in a situation where water is a problem, hospitals are Let's try and go back to Busisiswe. Busisiswe, one question I did want to ask you is that with this water situation, hospitals have to function at higher levels of hygiene than other places, and this must be compromising their ability to keep the hospital environment totally hygienic. Have there been any consequences for the patients in this crisis, this water crisis?
Indeed, Peter, and in fact, that
what they're going to do is.
Peter, that has been the case. There has been unhygienic areas in the hospital, especially when you talk about the toilets. I went to the pediatric wards there, and when I got to the toilet, Peter, I could not imagine what the next person who had to fetch water from outside and actually clean that toilet, what state they would be in. The toilets have been in a very bad state, because you'd understand that we are talking about patients here, people who are sick, some who are not able to actually take the bucket, because there are buckets and buckets outside the toilet with water that someone can take and pour over the toilet, but some are just simply unable to do that. The male wards, Peter, have also been top of the agenda of those that do not have the clean toilets that are needed in a hospital. So that has been disrupted, Peter, the hygienic scene of things in this hospital. But the department is saying that what it intends to do now that they have experienced this type of a problem and had these water cuts, is to actually look into connecting their water tankers from outside, because much as the municipality was taking water to the hospital, delivering water to the water tankers, but the problem was connecting the tanks to the wards inside, so that they could be running water in the sinks of the wards, they could be running water in the toilets, so that patients are able to flush. What they're saying now, Peter, is that they want to connect their tanks to the wards inside, so that whenever there are problems like these arise in the future again, they won't have to ask the staff to go and ferry water from outside to inside, because that also disturbs the day-to-day and the job description of the nurses that are to be working and making sure that patients are well taken care of, instead of fetching water from outside to inside. And the one disturbing thing with that also in this hospital, Peter, is that those taps are very short. Only a 5-liter bucket would fit there. So a nurse and a cleaning staff, a cleaning lady, would need to fetch water, something that would take about 30 minutes, because they need to fetch and pour to a bigger bucket, because they would need the water to wash linen, they would need the water for the toilets, they would need the water to wash the dishes, they would need the water for patients to actually bath in the morning. So those are the things that the department is saying that they will deal with and make sure that in the future there are no recurrences, Peter.
All right, Busisiswe, that's where we're going to leave it. That's our reporter, Busisiswe Jemsana-Mantashe, who's at Nompumelelo Hospital in Peddie in the Eastern Cape, relating a really, really sorry story of a situation where staff are being asked to work beyond the call of duty, fetching water just to be able to clean sheets for patients. And this has been going on for a number of weeks now. And that coupled with a ambulance, a go-slow, so many things that the hospital staff are having to deal with in trying to take care of their patients.